in the morning. Anthony Slater on 95.7 The Game Insider does a great job at The Athletic. Anthony, so Floyd Water Plumbing and Drain said they would be willing to come to Sacramento to help your boy out. They'll do anything for you, Anthony. Now, Shasky had a situation this morning before we break down some basketball. At 4-something in the morning, I guess his shower was flooding because his wife's hair was in the drain. So at 4:30 in the morning, he wanted to be a plumber. I say to hell with that. Just wait until later in the afternoon. I'm not doing anything at 4:30 in the morning. What would you have done? Had your shower been, not going to water, not going down the drain, two wells, going down very, very slowly? What if Anthony Slater have done? Would you have written an article in the shower? Would it have stopped you from writing an article? Or would you grab the plunger, said, you know what, I'm going to get my plumbing on?
I would have gone to another shower in the house, honestly. But I don't know. I wouldn't have written a story in the shower, I'll tell you that.
No doubt. No plus minuses, no X's and O's. Like, Shasky's out here going crazy, waking up the household at 4:30 in the morning. It's just some things could wait, that's all. Could wait a few hours.
He woke up everybody, including the baby?
Yep.
Technically, the baby was already up.
Okay, well, yeah, then. Then he was up. Then the house was up.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, Klay Thompson was up yesterday, too. He had the flower shirt working, the button up, and he was inserted back into the starting lineup. Now, a lot of people have been making a big deal about the starters and the bench all season long. Kind of driving me crazy. I only care about the finishing lineup, but were you surprised that Steve Kerr adjusted his starting lineup yesterday against Miami?
Not really. He kind of said it was matchup related, and they knew with who Miami had available to them, which was like all defensive players, and Eric Spoelstra available to them. He figured they were going to kind of muck the game up, and that meant just more spacing. But also, it's what the trend lines have shown him, I think, should be continually done, which is, Klay Thompson is shooting it better than pretty much anyone in the league over the last 20 games. And yes, the Podzeimski starting lineup has been really good, but so has the Klay Thompson in his spot starting lineup. I think they've been they're 42-19 was their score yesterday. They were plus 23 in 12 minutes. And just that lineup works with Klay. It's worked really well with Klay, and Klay has been playing 30 minutes off the bench anyways, basically. Podzeimski's minutes have been going down a bit as his scoring's gone down a bit, but so it doesn't matter too much necessarily how you deploy Klay's 30 minutes, but I like him with that unit, and that part of the reason that they did the Podzeimski unit was because what the numbers said. Well, the numbers also say the Klay unit works, so maybe keep going to it.
And I thought that Wiggins was excellent at halftime. The adjustment to come out, and it felt like a concerted effort to feed him and for him to be aggressive. How can that sustain?
Well, it's a little bit on him. They kind of try to implore him to be aggressive at times. Steve Kerr kind of tries to blame himself, saying he could run more actions to get him downhill more, but some of it, right, was just Wiggins. Like, he got to his mid-range a couple times. He went down rim. I think he got a putback. He had 8 points in the first 3-4 minutes, and he was good on Rozier, too.
Yeah.
But, the question of how to sustain it is the question of the last decade, right? It depends on the night.
The spacing, you bring up the spacing. Is Pods kind of clogging the drain? When you have clogging the drain, we're talking about showers and toilets here, but clogging the paint, Anthony, when you have Draymond and Pods, it does feel like it restricts the spacing on the floor for guys like Wiggins and Kuminga, especially you think about Kuminga in that Indiana game. They were sagging so far off of Draymond that Kuminga's going in, and he's got to do a better job at attacking the paint in that situation. But 4-17, it does feel like the spacing was compromised with Draymond and Pods. And we know Draymond's not leaving the starting lineup. He's your best defender, especially team defender and communicator right now on the Golden State Warriors.
You're a constant advertisement right now.
You like that?
Yes. I think that, Kerr made the point. It was for spacing, which would indicate, that getting Podzeimski out of there for Klay helps the spacing. And that helps Kuminga, gives him room, helps Wiggins. But, Podzeimski is their best plus-minus guy this season. He's plus 217. Nobody else is more than plus 130. So he does do a lot of stuff that generally helps the guys out there around him. But, his three hit, I would say, what's crazy, I remember when they drafted him, as we're breaking down film, as we're figuring out what type of player he's going to be, you're sitting there going, well, it looks like he'll hit the three, the open three, but, how will he survive defensively? How will he survive in the margins, athletically, all these various things? I think he's been good defensively. He obviously leads, the NBA in charges, the rebounding, the assists, the connectivity, whatever you want to call it. The shot has been the one thing that I think has hurt him, because I think long term that, for him to reach his ceiling, he has to be a feared shooter that does space the floor. He's still willing to take the three and at times hits it, but I'd say that's the part of his game that kind of needs to probably sharpen up the most, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, he had the little push shot in the lane that was nice, and Fitz was elaborating on how he's going to have to do more of that little push floater, not the hook shot, the push floater, and I'm kind of with him. It's his little 3-point shot it's very high arcing. It's not Tim Hardaway-esque, if you will, but he really shoots it up into the air. I don't know. It's an interesting release. I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just...
he's been better off the dribble from three this year than catch and shoot, which is odd. That's opposite than what you'd think. And then, the hook, I've talked to him. He wants to go to more mid-rangers. And the hook was something that, through the team, they thought was maybe something he should try this year. I think that's been scrapped. When's the last time you saw him try one of those?
5 or 6 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like that's been kind of quietly, nixed from the repertoire. And you would think if you watch his game, he's the type of guy who doesn't want to do mid-rangers because you never see him. But then you go talk to him, and he's like, no, I want to get to that. That is something in my career I would like to have in my game.
Yeah.
So, Anthony Slater here on the morning, also on 95.7 The Game, our 95.7 The Game insider. We think about the Warriors here, and I'm thinking about Sunday after the game with Draymond's basically saying, I'm not happy. I don't give a damn about the Rockets, but we're not playing well. We're too quiet. Now you get a game in Miami, and obviously they're missing 4 of their big dogs, and Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero and Kevin Love and Doug Robinson. They're missing a lot of guys. Tonight they're playing the Orlando Magic, who have the best defensive efficiency rating since the All-Star break. Their rebound percentage is first in the league. Opponents are not shooting the ball well. Opponents are turning the ball over against the Orlando Magic. This feels like a real good litmus test for where the Warriors are at on this road trip here. Are they? And look, we've seen it all season long. They've kind of lost these games this season, but I'm really looking forward to another young, athletic team and the Warriors trying to navigate and figure things out against the Orlando Magic. This win will go a long way for them.
Yeah, I agree. This is their hardest remaining game on this road trip. They go to Charlotte, to San Antonio. Nothing's a gimme,
Right.
But this is, we these daily check-ins we have with this team. But, they're talking I thought they had the right message last night post-game of not being too happy with the win, just knowing, hey, look, 24 hours from now, tough team in Orlando. And, they've had good wins this season, but not sustained excellence. And not that last night was excellent, but a win tonight would be good. I obviously tracked the Kings. The Kings came into Orlando and won the other day, and it was a nice win for them, and it was just a professional performance because I think that the Magic are a team they are very beatable if you just bring, again, a professional approach. That's been eluding the Warriors at times this season. So especially on a back-to-back, older legs, we'll see what they do.
Orlando does not shoot the 3-ball well as Shasky. They don't shoot at all. So be wary of Markelle Fultz and Jalen Suggs having the games of their life from the perimeter. They don't shoot the 3-ball well. I think they're one of the worst teams in the league, Anthony, in three-point makes and 3-point percentage.
Jalen Suggs hurts the Warriors from 3, though. I can remember the game last year.
Yeah.
He hit 2 big ones late, including the game winner. They never win here.
Yeah, when was the last time they won there? 2017?
You should have the stat if you're hosting pregame live tonight.
Well, I'm asking you, Mr. X's and O's.
X's and O's. Hey, my history here. I feel like they always play afternoon games here. It's not tonight, obviously. But it's a little sleepy at times. But it should be a better atmosphere tonight. So maybe they'll be more alert because this is the best Magic team they've played since probably the Dwight Howard era.
Wow.
Rashard Lewis, Jameer Nelson, Hedo Turkoglu. God, what an era that was. Did I mess something up there, Joe? You were looking at me.
No, I wonder who beat them in the finals. Crazy.
Kobe. Wow, we go full circle. TJD, any update?
He looked fine yesterday when I saw him pregame doing a little workout, postgame in the locker room. I think you'll have a will he play, will he not play update in about 2 hours or so from now. But it was clearly very minor, and I wouldn't expect him to be out long, even if he misses tonight.
Just a random one, but I noticed last night, defensively, to Bonte's point earlier in the show, like the kitchen sink was thrown at the Warriors in terms of they were trapping, they were blitzing, there was a box and one. I mean, they did a lot of different things. Zone.
How about the full court press?
That's what I was going to ask you about. There were 4 or 5 occasions. Not only did they press at a perfect time, the Warriors had zero sense of urgency, knowing about the 8 seconds to get across the half court there, and like it felt like it was a wrinkle that more teams should employ. Why isn't the press more employed?
Well, you got to remember, they were playing a Miami team last night that, while they were missing their floor spacers, Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, missing their best player, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Love, another guy, those aren't their, athlete defenders. The Heat are loaded on the back end of the roster with, well-conditioned, 6'7", wings that are super hungry, that when they get their opportunity, and Eric Spoelstra runs basically a military program there, are go attack defensively. You're not going to score much, but if we're going to win tonight, you're just going to bother the heck out of them for 48 minutes. So I just think it's personnel based. You're not going to, be able to get LeBron James and Anthony Davis to pick up full court all game, or even if it was Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero. While the Heat may have threatened the Warriors more yesterday and won because those guys were hitting threes, they wouldn't have been pressing them as well, right? Tyler Hero's out there trying to, take Chris Paul's dribble, and Duncan Robinson's on the backside of the press. So I just think it's personnel based. It's just Heat based too. So I don't necessarily disagree that I think at times teams should spring that on guys, but it just depends on who you have out there defending.
The Warriors have not won in Orlando since February 28th, 2019. They've lost 5 straight games in Orlando, Anthony. And you're right. They've had some Sunday morning games, some Saturday afternoon games, some weekday games. It's always a weird, murky time. The back-to-backs with Miami and Orlando. So they haven't won there 5 straight times. It'd probably be in my opening monologue. Looking live in Orlando, and the Warriors haven't won there since 2018.
I remember about last year's game. It was part of that 0-5 road trip at the start of the season.
Oh, yep. Jalen Suggs, 2 steals.
Yes, but it was also, I remember Wiseman had a rough night.
Oh, yes.
And Kevon Harris was ripping offensive rebounds from him. That was and they changed the lineup the next day. That's when they moved Wiseman to the bench. They put Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome in, and it was just they completely overhauled the rotation.
Oh, yeah, they lost. I'm looking at the score right now, 1-3. I couldn't remember all the games. The year before, Draymond hit a 3 before the end of the third quarter. He was barking at the Orlando bench, and then late in the game, Curry misses a 3. Draymond didn't even look at the basket on the 3-point shot. All these games have been murky. They've come down to the wire, it feels like, down in Orlando. Just a weird place. Just a weird place to play.
It is a weird place, and it's loaded with Warriors fans typically, almost as much as any opposing arena. All the Florida fans just come here and descend, and then they have a bar restaurant that's on this tunnel to the locker room.
Ooh.
That it gets wild in there. They're basically walking out to a parade at times.
All right, last question. Since you all are also our baseball correspondent for the American League with your Guardians, give me your MVP and Cy Young predictions out of that area.
Jose Ramirez, Shane Bieber. How's that work for you?
For the Giants, you guys making a deal? I'll give you Marco Luciano right now.
Yeah, there you go. Seriously, Shane Bieber might not be on the roster, but are you asking me my Giants MVP?
No, I'm asking you American League. You're our American League correspondent, all right?
Okay.
So American League MVP and Cy Young prediction.
Wow.
Ooh, how about Juan Soto as a big year for the Yankees?
I do like that. I like that a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. I think Shane Bieber is going to have a monster year.
I love Shane Bieber.
Yeah, I mean, you still got him on fantasy?
No, I don't. I actually, you wouldn't want to hear what happened to my fantasy.
That's a whole nother segment for another day.
Yeah, I boycotted my keeper league. I'm not playing.
We're up against it.
They did some things. They did some things that that I'm not too thrilled with.
That's a sad state. So I'll go with that. How about that?
I like it. I like it, and I'm holding that against you.
And we'll go to a game this year, Anthony. We will make it. Well, you're all the way in Sacramento. Maybe we'll go to a River Cats game.
Game at River Cat Stadium.
Right? You know where Cleveland opens?
Where?
4-game series in the Coliseum. starting tomorrow night.
What a way to get the fans in. Cleveland versus the A's to start the season.
And Anthony will be on the road. Unless you got to cut your road trip short. You got to cut your road trip short?
I actually am cutting my road trip short. I'm going to Kings Mavs on Friday, but I'm not going to Guardians A's game. Sorry.
By the way, Kings got blasted last night. I haven't heard from King fans this morning. 5-point game at the half. And as you know, they were not lighting the beam in the third quarter. Man.
Bye, Anthony.
Why you kicking Anthony off? I can't talk to Anthony. Brock Purdy. Hey, how you feel about Brock Purdy resetting the quarterback market? As Jet York said yesterday, Anthony. Brock Purdy resetting the quarterback.
I'm much more worried about the Tua Tagovailoa market. Let me tell you. But, yeah, I mean, that's going to change some things for the Niners. How's Brandon Ayuk feel about that? That's my bigger question.
Anthony, you're like, man, that's why I love you, man. By the way, they haven't won in Orlando since 2018. Mark it down. I better see it in the store tomorrow morning or later on tonight.
All right. Well, will it be after a win or a loss?
Oh, what if they lose? They've lost 6 straight times in Orlando, according to Morning Roast correspondent Ponce Hill. I just want to make your article.
I'll see if I can slip that in. I'll see if I can slip that in.
All right, tell your editor not to chop that off. Anthony Slater, our 95.7 Game Insider. Have fun in Orlando tonight.
All right, y'all.
All right, man. Anthony Slater. It's my guy. It's my guy right there. Love his stories. Love his insights. Love that we could talk baseball, football, have fun with him.
Orlando Magic history versus the Golden State Warriors.
They haven't won this since 20. I told you I've been on this.